Hey there, this is Airwave speaking. Welcome back to my channels, my website, airwave-music.com, my YouTube /DJ Airwave, my Facebook /Airwave fan page, my Twitter, Airwave Music, and so on and so on. You probably know better than I do. I'm just back from London in a good shape, as I had a great gig with the people from London playing a classic set on vinyl. That was last Saturday in the middle of London. It was great. City of my heart, of course. This screencast is all about something else. As you can imagine, my passion remains music production, first of all, music creation. And for this screencast, I would like to touch a subject that can be quite annoying for most of you aspiring producers, just like me. Like many of you, I own a good keyboard that's somehow entry level, but I like the concept behind it. And it's normally especially made for Ableton Live, but I use it with Logic and many other sequencers. And it's a Launchkey 61, so the 61 key version of the Launchkey from Novation. It's a great keyboard. Let me show it to you here with a webcam. Just give me a sec. Up. There you go. This is my keyboard. So I guess you can see here. 61 key version and model wheel, pitch bend. The model wheel is a little bit dodgy at times on my model, probably a defective or something. But it's not a big deal for me, as I don't use the model wheel that often, to be honest, as I have external controllers. But today is all about talking about those controllers here that you can see here. You have the in control, that's for Ableton Live, and eventually the Launchkey in Mackie HUI mode, as you can use this keyboard as a controller into Logic, just like anything else here. Let me show you. It's MIDI, and then you have control surfaces, and then setup. And here you can use this keyboard as a HUI surface, which means that all the faders respond to the the Logic mixer responds to the faders and all the knobs and buttons over there. Also the transport control, which is really useful in my case. But this keyboard has a problem when you're trying to use it with standard MIDI messages. So that when in control is set to off, just like here, you have a problem, as every single thing you do with this, for example, you have a standard MIDI message, and as you can see here, this is fader 1 here, channel 1, and this is controller CC41. Next one is 42, 43, 44. I wondered myself if I could reassign those controllers inside the keyboard, and unfortunately, it's not possible. It's possible on the Launch Control by Novation, by the same brand, but it's not possible on their keyboards. And it's quite annoying in my case because, I write a lot of orchestral music that truly relies on CC messages, especially in real time when recording and everything. So it can be truly annoying. But today, especially when you're using Logic, but I guess you can do the same for Reason and Cubase and the likes. There is good news, and also for Ableton Live, I'm sure there is a Max for Live device doing that as well. So, but I'm gonna show it to you in Logic. Is really useful. Don't be mad if you cannot reassign those controllers here inside the keyboard, because you can do that into your DAW software. Let me show you that. I hope you can see me. Actually, I have no access to my webcam. Not displaying here. Sorry about that. So here's how it goes. Into Logic, we have those controllers and they're non-assignable. So I need to reassign them between the moment I move them and the moment gets into my sequencer. And there is a page for that in the environment of Logic. And if you open the environment here, this is the environment, and the layer is click and ports, as you can see here. So what's going on? As simple as that. As you can see, everything I touch here on my keyboard goes straight into the input nodes, that goes into input view so you can monitor what's going on, and that goes into the sequencer input, which is my DAW input. This is exactly what's going on. When I want to record, it records everything that goes in there. So if I want to reassign those controllers, there is a workaround here into Logic, and you have to identify here and the physical input, which is your keyboard and MIDI controller. So you have an idea of what I have here: a machine controller. I even have here the Lemur controllers, and I have also a push and the lights, but it's not. It's not a big, and I have the launch control here. So what I need here is a cable between the launch key MIDI, as you can see here, and some kind of object. And the object in question is the transformer. Here it is. When you do a new transformer object, which is here, it creates here this object that doesn't need an icon or whatever. You just need it to be here in the clicking ports next to your physical input. And you take a cable, just grab a cable here, put this into a transformer. And now, if I touch the keys of my launch key, nothing happens, nothing goes into the sequencer input. And there is a reason for that. That's because, as you can see, the cable here has to get into input nodes and then input view and the sequencer input, but it's not the case anymore. So this way I can use this transformer, double click on it, and tell Logic status equals, well, if it is a control and the data byte is equal 41, which is the first fader here. And I would like it to be reassigned to another controller number. And I just go here, well, let's say downstairs, but it's not really. You go down here and you choose fix. And this way you can reassign it into the software without changing the parameters of any MIDI controller you have. It's also very useful when you have several MIDI controllers, but you also perform live on another workstation with the same hardware. You don't need to reprogram it. You can do it all inside Logic here, and you don't need to worry about that when performing. So here I chose CC11, which is expression and volume for most of my orchestral instruments. There it is, 11. So what's going on is as follows. If I put this transformer here into the input nodes, and then obviously into sequencer input, when I move the fader here, which is normally assigned to 41, look at what happens. Channel 1, but controller 11. So it's being reassigned. But unfortunately, it only happens for one controller here. And I want all of them here, the 8 I have, to be reassigned. So for this to be possible, I need to disconnect the transformer output, create another transformer here, and I'm gonna put that next and cable the two, transformer 1, transformer 2, and I can even rename them. As you can see here, instrument transformer, I'm gonna rename it to CC11, for example, and this is going to become CC CC1 modulation, for example. That's going to be really really handy, as my modulation wheel here on my keyboard is really dodgy at present time. So CC1, I double click it, status equal, oh sorry about that, control, and then data byte equal 42, which is the second control, the second CC here on my keyboard, and fix, and this becomes 1. Another transformer, bang, and this will become here it is. Then CC2, for example. So status, this is 43 as far as I remember. So I take here control equal 43, back to fix, and 2. Voila. And I rename it to CC2. And I can even add a few more, like for example CC3 and CC4. So let's do the same operation over and over again with different controllers. Control, so 41, 42, 43, and this is 44. And go back to control 3. And here we are. And then the last one, let's rename it. I like labeling things correctly, so I know what I'm talking about. Because when you leave your template unattended and just go back to it, and you have all those things like MIDI and audio one, and you don't know what it's all about, and it's a waste of time for most of us. So this is CC3. Let's yeah, this is good, and let's do the last one here, transformer CC4. So there it is. So equal control is 44, 45 now. Here it is, and fix to controller number 4. So I've got CC11, CC1, CC2, CC3, and now CC4. CC11, CC1, CC2, CC3, and CC4. 5 controllers coming from my keyboard, but the internal controllers cannot be changed, cannot be reassigned, but I reassigned them into my DAW software. And now I'm gonna grab this last cable and put that into input notes, and voila, I've got CC11, CC1, CC2, CC3, and CC4 assigned to those faders. It's really useful, and let me show you that on a software instrument. Let's say, well, let's grab something like Contact, for example, and let's check what I have here. Oops. Where's my browser? My browser. Here it is. Well, string ensemble by Native Instrument and Audio Bro, of course. I'm not a big fan of the legatos, but I will keep that for another screencast, a long one about string ensembles. I did the last one about soaring strings, but I'm planning another one with many other string libraries. And but let's take that for just for the example here. And violins. As you can see, it's a big one. Eats a lot of memory, more than a gig. 1.33. So the very first thing I can do is as follows. First of all, I have 11 here, and I hope you will, yeah, you can hear it. So auto DVZ is enabled. This is the expression, and this is the first fader, and this is the second fader here. As you can hear, this is dynamics. So not a big fan of this legato. It's really, well, this is a portamento articulation, and I'm not a big fan of it. So I'm gonna use my sustain pedal, so I have the good transition that I want. As you can see here, I'm using the second fader, which is normally CC42 and reassigned to a CC1. There is also one thing that I can do here with this instrument, and this is with the legato with vibrato control articulation that I use normally by default in my template, because I always make use of vibrato, and I will assign it here by right clicking on the controller, Learn MIDI CC automation in contact. I'm gonna grab my third fader, which is assigned to CC2, remember? And bam, it becomes CC2. So I have this. Now I have those two faders. Oh, auto DVZ is sorry about that. Sorry if that doesn't sound that too impressive. It's because I'm doing here everything on the fly, and I'm not used to this. Legato. Well, this is what most aspiring orchestral musicians do here with MIDI. They use those faders, and you can use a nano control if you want, or a big controller like a UC33 by M-Audio, which is not available anymore, but which you can still find secondhand. And I'm not a fan of this technique, but this is what most people do. They use the faders. I like using my iPad with an XY pad between CC1 and CC2, just for your information. But it's not a point here. Sorry about that. So I still have CC3 and CC4, which I can assign, for example, to legato speed. So I can, the portamento legato speed here. And I can learn it. So we have CC11, CC1, CC2, and now we have CC3. And here we go. So we have a very, very speedy legato speed, and now that's because I have to. We have a speedy portamento, and here it's a bit longer. Same goes for legato, as far as I remember, with this instrument. But I'm not exactly sure, but I know what I'm doing most of the time. So we have CC11, CC1, CC2, CC3 assigned, and I can even assign CC4 to brightness here. And here we go. Oh, sorry about that. And make it darker or brighter, depending on your needs. That's so. That's it. Reassign controllers and software. No hardware manipulation on your master keyboard, which is also very handy. And it's all made into Logic, and I'm sure you can do the same into Ableton Live. So remember, you go to the environment, click imports layer. So environment, click imports layer, and you use those transformers daisy chained and then put them back into the input nodes. It's as simple as that. It's very useful, and I'm sure that many of you will like this idea when you can reassign the controller numbers on your keyboard, or when you don't want to bother doing this because you have other applications for your keyboards. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I see you very soon on my channels, airwave-music.com, my YouTube, DJ Airwave, my Facebook /Airwave fan page, and all the others for more tutorials and more happenings. Thanks a lot for watching this, and see you later. Bye.